Hello and welcome to this month's Goddess Asteroid and Gene Keys profile. So we're going to be looking at the new moon, which is happening tomorrow, the 1st of April. And it's another super powerful one. And a new moon will imprint, the whole next cycle of the moon. So it's kind of the month ahead, what to look out for. So let me share the chart without any further ado. Okay, so the new moon this month, if we look here at the 12th house, this is in Britain. So if you live in another country, it's going to be different houses. So we won't pay too much attention to that. But what we can see here is that we have the new moon is there at 11 degrees Aries, 30 minutes. And it's exactly conjunct Chiron. Well, not exactly, there's 1 degree between them. So Chiron is at 12 degrees Aries, 18 minutes. So in Gene Keys language, this is 21 in the line 3 is the new moon, and Chiron is the line 4, which is the heart line, the wounded healer. So just that in the lines itself suggests a movement into the heart space potentially and healing today. So 21 has the shadow of control and the gift of authority. So this is a really interesting one, isn't it? Because control really comes from quite a deep place of insecurity. It often has force attached to it. In fact, something this morning just unfolded around my art studio where, there was this kind of communication of force coming into play and then triggering other people's wounds of not being heard and that type of thing, which is typical actually of Chiron in Aries. The wound is all about not being seen and heard. So look out for that wound coming up, because it's come up for me a few times this week and sort of noticing it in others. But the shift to the 4th line suggests, an opportunity to recognize where that wound is being triggered and to not kind of judge ourselves too harshly, I guess, and take the opportunity to own our own karma, not react in a controlling way, but seek to move into our inner authority. What is our body telling us? What is our deepest value system telling us? And these can often be really soothing kind of things to help us overcome or heal these wounds. And I love the city of this gene key is Valour, and it's called a noble life. So, how can we live a noble life at this time? How can we be, really in our integrity, really living from a place of our inner truth, and not getting caught up in propaganda and polarization and all the things going on in the world. Okay, so there's another couple of trans-Neptunian planets that I'd like to introduce as well today. I just want to talk about Hygeia first, though. She's a healing goddess, and actually she's in an exact quincunx today to Ceres, 13 degrees of Gemini, and Hygeia is at 13 degrees of Scorpio. Now, 13 degrees Scorpio is Jinki 1, line 1. And Hygeia has been in Jinki 1, which is like celestial fire, pure yang, freshness. It's got the city of beauty. And it's been there since February when this Kala Sarpa yoga started. Now, what that's all about is that you can see here the moon's nodes running across here, and all the main planets and most of the asteroids are at the far top side. And this creates a lot of stress, like a boil about to burst, really. And, you know, these things come along, everyone says it's going to be really stressful these next few months. But, you know, I don't think any of us were expecting World War III to almost break out and really still be on the brink of that. So you can see the power of what happens when these big karmic events astrologically occur. They create a lot of tension, turbulence, karmic events on the planet that, you know, this new moon is saying approach from your noble self, approach with valor, you know, approach in a way that is going to improve the situation, bring more love and compassion into the world, and not create more polarization, hatred, misunderstanding of each other. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Hygeia first, because she's a goddess who brings us back into natural rhythm. You know, the rhythms of the earth, the rhythms of the moon, the tidal rhythms, the ebb and flow of life. And she, in that sense, opens us up to the Trans-Neptunian objects, which are all about returning to the wisdom of indigenous people who, as we know, lived and still live in, you know, a state of harmony with the planet and with each other as well, because of a different kind of mindset. And this is what the cosmos is pushing us all towards, you know, being in this indigenous mindset. So there's actually two Trans-Neptunian objects conjunct the new moon tomorrow. Well, they're already there. They move very slowly, the Trans-Neptunian objects. So the first one I wanted to talk about is Lalikuhonua. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's a Polynesian word that basically is about the meeting place of the sky and the land, and the sky and the sea. And last week I was on a pilgrimage down the Llyn Peninsula of Wales to going to Bardsey Island. So I had a lot of opportunity actually to kind of see this place where the sky either meets the land or is meeting the sea, and all the incredible variations in that, and really take that energy into myself. So I wrote a poem, and I'm just going to read that. I'm not going to say anything about the body, because I think the poem tells its own story. Lalikuhonua. There is a place where sky meets the sea, called Lalikuhonua by the Polynesian peoples. And the closer it comes to you, until it is right here, the more you realize the horizon is within as well as without. That inside is a vast beauty reflected in the world. Reflected today in my inner landscape, a bog dance in fierce mud, covered with innocent grass that could eat a whole boot, it sucks so well. Ancient rocks of lichens and mosses, pale spiraling grey, vibrant starry moss, spiky black crunch, tiny orange sponges, and a quartz waterfall of exquisite beauty. A rich geological soup formed over thousands of years. A peacock upon a castle wall raises its tail, illuminated eyes in every feather, swirls for us, revealing his sacred geometry, his foundational strength to produce this miraculous display. All of this is inside me, the beauty and the struggle, and the realization the beauty is the struggle. At the horizon of myself with heaven is the wind of breath. On the wind of breath is voice. Oh, ah, The voice is the Creator's greatest gift to humanity. Within the DNA, gifts of divinity, of tenderness, truth, grace, and compassion awaken. Conflict and war have ceased where beauty shines. The light of the sun streams through my eyes, my skin. From flat and sterile I bulge, tender hands upon my spine, supporting, listening. And I blossom as the fruits on the trees into this inner landscape of beauty. So that is something of the energy of this wonderful Trans-Neptunian object, who was just named actually in 2020 and has an orbit of 39,000 years. So in my entire lifetime, it's like hardly moved at all. So yeah, it's moving very, very slowly, this one, and is actually at 10 degrees of Aries right now. Now there's another one, another Trans-Neptunian object called Salacia here. And I want to thank my colleague, Kelly Hunter, whose video I watched yesterday, and she was talking about this, so it kind of brought it more into my consciousness, like, wow, there's this whole other layer happening with this new moon as well. So Salacia is one of my favorites. You'll see on my little heading I use for my gong bath that there's a mermaid with a conch shell, and I think of her as Salacia. So I think of my own kind of work as Salacia's archetype, if you like, in my chart. So what is she about? Well, she was a water nymph, and she had a big transforming effect on Neptune. So Neptune fell in love with her and kind of grabbed her, as he has grabbed many a woman or a mermaid or, you know, a goddess, and tried to have his way with her by force. Now, Salacia was having none of this, and she managed to run away and hide from Neptune. And Neptune sent a dolphin to bring her back. Now, I always think of this dolphin as like the refined communication, the tenderness, you know, the transformation of Neptune from force and control, actually, to maybe being in both Salacia and Neptune being more in their authority rather than in this inequality and domination relationship. And so Salacia for me is an interesting one. She's really healing the sexual energy field between men and women. But it also feels like her transmission is coming through sound and music and, you know, kind of oceanic wisdom. So it's interesting, we have two bodies. And Salacia, by the way, her hair is said to be the beautiful sparkling water that you get like at sunrise and sunset on the ocean. So for both Lilikuona and Salacia, there's this interplay between light and water or light and land. And that feels very important to me, especially if we connect it then with Hygeia in Jinki 1, which is all about, you know, that celestial fire and light and the way that that is being brought into the earth at this time, into the being of our DNA and our bodies. And I'm aware just from other people I watch and my own experience that we're getting these kind of ascension symptoms again when there's a lot of influx of light and spiritual energy into the planet. I've kind of been feeling that as kind of a lot of sudden tension and locking around my shoulders and neck that I'm really having to kind of take time out to relax even more this week than usual. I feel like I need a lot of relaxation time. But I've needed extra relaxation time. Yeah, and sometimes I've experienced that as sinusitis. I haven't got that quite at the moment, but it can, you know, be around the head, the shoulders, the throat, because the spiritual energy tends to come in through the crown chakras and it can get kind of blocked in this sort of narrowness. And then, but once it's made its way through the body, then it's really lovely and very, very healing as well. Okay, so those are those two there. I just wanted to mention as well that over here on the other side, at 7 degrees of Libra, we have Maki Maki, who is the god of Rapa Nui or Easter Island. So this is bringing in a strong environmental theme at the moment, you know, about living in harmony with nature is essentially what is at the heart of Maki Maki's presence. And then over here, over in Cancer, we actually have my software doesn't bring these up automatically, but we have Black Moon Lilith, who I kind of feel is a very kind of erotic, invisible presence. She's like the energy of dark matter. For me, she's like really exciting. She's quite detached and she's quite fierce, really. You know, she wants us to speak our truth. You know, so squaring into Chiron there, you know, can we speak up for ourselves, or when others speak up for ourselves, can we be compassionate towards what they're saying, really listen to what they're saying and try not to be reactive to that. You know, pretty much everyone in the world wants to be seen and heard. And when we listen, that's such a massive thing really to do for anyone. I used to run a crisis house years ago, and I'm really sold on on the idea of just being with people and listening. Like, we don't have to do things to people. And And I have to remind myself of that sometimes, you know, it's actually that kind of presence and listening is, I feel, one of the most key healing tools of our times. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. There's quite a lot going on. We've got Mars and Saturn in 49, so we're having a lot of pressure on structures at the moment being cracked open, along with Pluto in Gene Key 60, the cracking of the vessel. So we're under a lot of pressure at the moment. This Kala Sarpa Yoga is going to be ending in a few weeks, which will start to ease things off a bit. But there's also massive potential for rebirth and this kind of opening to light and beauty going on. So take that with you. Namaste. Thank you for listening. If you are interested in one-to-one readings, joining my Venus program, or any of my, I'm doing the Gene Keys, and I'm going to be doing the 7 Sacred Seals on Soul Tribe Online, where I have my office space in cosmic space and time. Then my email is astroalison@gmail.com, and you can contact me anytime to ask for more information about other offerings that I do. Thank you. Bye.